Hello, we have seen how to work on REST API using SOAP UI in our previous video. Now we are going to see how to work on the same public API using REST Assured in Eclipse and Maven. So let's see. So yes, to start our testing, we need to have our Eclipse and Maven setup already ready. So now we have our Eclipse and Maven ready. Okay, let us create a Maven project first. For that, click File, New, Other. Inside that, search for a Maven project. Okay. We have now created our where did it go? Yeah. We have now created our project. We now have our pom.xml. The first step you have to do is add REST assured dependencies. We have the dependencies to be added in our blog already. So let me copy this. And go to pom.xml. Inside dependencies tag, we already have a JUnit dependency. Next to it, paste it. Paste it and save it. So now we have added a dependency. Let's do a Maven clean install. Right click, run as Maven clean. Yes, now you are seeing the message build success and give run as Maven install to make sure that it pulled all the dependencies we wanted. Okay, now we have added our REST assured dependencies and did the Maven clean. Now inside the test Java folder, let's create a package. Let's name it as test. Okay, inside that, create a new class. Okay, now we have our class created. Inside that, let us create a method. Okay, our step 2 was creating a REST assured test Java class. Inside that, let's create a test method, which is basically a JUnit test. Public void get response. Okay, now we created our method. Here in our test annotation, it throws error because we haven't imported any package. Click on that. You will see an option to import JUnit package. Click on that. So the JUnit package is automatically imported, and you can see the error is gone. Okay, now we have created our method. So let's go into our next tutorial working on a public API. So yes, the deck of cards. We have already seen the same API in our SOAP UI REST testing as well. We are using this public API to all our test cases. So what this API actually does is, if you haven't seen my another video, I'll explain it once again for you. The deck of cards API is basically operations or functions of a playing card. It will create a new deck with 52 cards, and you can draw the cards, you can discard the cards, you can shuffle the whole deck. All these operations can be performed in this API. So let's first test our first scenario. Deck of cards API deck new. This URL will basically create a new deck of 52 cards, and the response will look like this. That is, a new deck will be created with a deck ID and with 52 cards. Okay, so let us understand the code of. First, let us type in the code and come to the explanation. Okay, given dot get http deck of cards.com /API /deck /new Okay, now it is throwing error at the line given. So what we need to do, we need to import the rest assured packages. Now you can see I have added the import for rest assured given, and the error is gone. So let's run the test as a JUnit test. Okay, let us check the URL once. It's API deck cards API. Okay, we missed the API, I guess. API. Okay, now we got a response with a deck ID and 52 cards. So what we have done, we just passed the URL to create a new deck and executed. So we got the response like this. So here given, when, and then are the syntax, are basic methods or functions we get from rest assured. Okay, so what is given? Given will actually let you pass the parameters like query parameters, path parameters, headers, etc. So let's see. Third one is understanding the syntax. Given method will let you pass parameters, which you're gonna see in our tutorial. The next when is actually let you do all the operations that needs to be performed, and then will make you work on assertions, etc. Right? So this is the basic syntax, like given dot whatever parameter goes here, then when, and the operations goes here, and then and the operation goes here. Like this the syntax looks. So now we successfully created our first rest assured test and executed, and this then has an option to log all the response. Via that we can see that we got the response with 200 status code. Okay, yes, we have run our first test case. Let's see how to pass parameters in given method. For example, let us consider our next scenario. Let us consider our next scenario, shuffle the cards. So this URL basically shuffle the cards or create a new deck by considering the parameter deck count. Here what does the deck count means? The deck count will create the number of decks specified here. For example, we have passed 1 and the response will be with 52 cards. If we pass 2, a deck will be created with 104 cards. So let us, okay, this is actually a parameter being passed in a URL. Let's see how we are going to pass a parameter in rest assured. So here the URL is ending with shuffle, deck, new, and shuffle. Okay. Okay, now if you see dot, we have query parameter, right? In query parameter, the parameter name is deck count and the value is 2. Let's say 2. Let us run. See, now our test executed successfully. With the response we got a new deck ID and the remaining 104 cards because the count is 2. Now you are getting it right. How to pass a query parameter. This syntax looks quite easier to understand, like given and its operations, when and its operations, then and its operations. So let's consider our third scenario here. Yes, draw a card. This URL will help us to draw a card or number of cards from the deck we created. So let's see. We already have API deck there. We're gonna pass the deck ID, because how do we identify the deck we created? With the deck ID. In our previous scenario, we have created a deck ID and a deck that has its unique deck ID. We are going to identify the deck by the deck ID and pull two cards from the deck, right? Okay, we already have API deck. Okay, after question mark, there is a count equal to 2. So what we will do, we will pass that as a query parameter. But this is part of the URL itself. Let's see how to do it. It's a deck ID, and then draw, right? I guess the URL is right. And as usual, we are going to pass the count here. So we pass the count equal to 2, API deck and draw everything. This deck ID is a path parameter. Let's say dot path parameter. Yes, here we have a path parameter deck ID, and the value is here. From here we are taking the deck ID. Okay. Yes. Now we have added a path parameter deck ID and passed its value, and query parameter as here, and we are going to execute. Let's save it, execute it. Yes. Now we are seeing the response with 200 OK, and two cards are drawn from the deck. The card ID, the deck ID that we passed, and the first card is 9 diamonds with the code 90, and second one is Jack hearts with remaining 102 cards, because in our previous response we have got 104 cards. Now we have drawn 2 cards from the deck and we have the remaining 102 cards, right? So that is how we pass a query parameter and a path parameter and run the test. Now we're gonna see how to read the responses in our Java code. Before that, let us see the response. What are all in the response? The response has a status code, date, content type, and the header values, and then the actual JSON response, which pulls what output we need from the server. So let's create another class. Read response. And a test method. Output. Okay, let us import the test again. And from our previous class, let's copy the imports. Okay. Okay, that's a spelling error. Read response output. Let us pass simple URL. Let's define the URL first. It will be easy for us to call it every time. HTTP deckofcards.api.com/API/new, right? Okay, now given dot when dot get, we're passing the URL here simply, and then dot log dot all. So what this will do, this will just get us our response with a new deck of cards, right? Yes. So now the first thing we're gonna read from the response is its status code. So here the status code is OK. And for that, the status code is an integer. So int status code is equal to given when this URL dot get status code. Get status code is an option that is available inside when that will actually get the status code. Now let us print status code. So let us run this. Yes, it has took the status code and printed it, right? Okay. So next, let us read the header, the complete header. Directly let us print the header. So here, given when get inside URL dot then dot extract. So extract is the keyword which is used to extract the data from response. Extract, let us see what the options are there in extract. Extract content type, session ID, status code, status line, and then see cookies. So let's extract the headers first. Headers. Yes. So if you see the console, for our first calling the URL and logging all, for that it is displaying all the output. After that we have got the status code and we have got the header. So it is displaying the header alone.